What comes to your mind when you hear the word failure? Are you someone who's afraid of taking risks? Do you find it difficult to own up to your mistakes? Hello everyone, and welcome to another brand new episode on my channel, Wonder Boho Book Club. Today I'll be talking about the book, Rising Strong, How the Ability to Reset Transforms the Way We Live, Love, Parent, and Lead, written by Brené Brown. Cassandra Brené Brown is an American research professor, lecturer, author, and podcast host. Brown is known in particular for her research on shame, vulnerability, and leadership. In Rising Strong, Brown has ignited a global conversation on courage, vulnerability, shame, and worthiness. Her pioneering work uncovered a profound truth. Vulnerability, the willingness to show up and be seen with no guarantee of outcome, is the only path to more love, belonging, creativity, and joy. But living a brave life is not always easy. We are inevitably going to stumble and fall. It is the rise from falling that Brown takes as a subject in Rising Strong. Before moving ahead, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Part 1. Taking risks and being willing to fail. Human life is full of trials and tribulations. We all experience setbacks or failures at some point in our lives, be it something shocking like being fired from your job or discovering that your partner has an extramarital affair, or something milder like getting tongue-tied while giving a presentation. At some point in your life, you must have probably felt the pain of stumbling over an unexpected obstacle or a lapse in judgment. In fact, human experience wouldn't be complete without these failures. Being brave always entails the risk of failure. However, instead of simply avoiding situations that call for courage, you can actually strengthen your ability to rise to the occasion. We are often put in circumstances where we must take risks in order to grow as individuals. Learning by doing may leave us feeling vulnerable, whether it's being clumsy in front of our workout class or being unprofessional in our new leadership role at work. Putting yourself at risk in this manner might be difficult. Might leave us feeling humiliated, disheartened, or even resolving to never leave them again. However, in order to succeed in life, the ability to bounce back from setbacks is critical. It takes a lot of courage to take a risk and emerge from the process with a sense of self-confidence. There are no hard and fast rules to achieve this, but there are some fundamental ideas that may be used in your own life. There are 3 things to keep in mind before going ahead with the process. You must first accept that you will fail before you can rise beyond it. Accepting the possibility of failure, yet still deciding to give it your best, is what this entails. Also, remember that you're not the only one who has had a bad experience. Many others have trodden this path before you. Hence, we may ask our peers for suggestions on how to learn from our mistakes. More importantly, know that Rising Strong will not only transform your life, but also the world around you. Your experience of bouncing back after failure may have a tremendous effect on others around you as you become a source of inspiration to them. Part 2. The threefold process of Rising Strong. So, how does one go about becoming a powerful person? There is no one-size-fits-all answer to this question. Here is a basic outline of the 3 key parts of the Rising Strong process, based on people's own experiences and those of others who have found creative solutions to difficult situations. The reckoning is the first phase in the process. People who can stand strong in the face of adversity are more likely to be able to face their own emotions. When anything occurs that causes them to experience an emotional shift, they make it a point to notice and acknowledge it. As a result, individuals become fascinated by the unique links between their emotions, ideas, and behaviors, and are eager to learn more about them. The rumbling is the second phase in becoming a powerful individual. You need to be critical of your own self-awareness in order to succeed in rumbling. During difficult times, what tales do you tell yourself to help you cope with your emotions? In order to understand more about yourself, it's important to re-examine and question these narratives, as well as go deep into issues such as shame, guilt, sadness, or forgiveness. The revolution is the last stage towards growing powerful. When you use the insights you acquire from dealing with your stories to make good changes in your life, you are on the road to transformation. Rumbling may cause a dramatic transformation in how you live, love, lead, parent, and engage in the world. Let's take a closer look at each of these components and see how we may apply them to our own situations. Part 3. Identify with and examine your feelings. People who seem to merely go with the flow are known as rollers. It might be perplexing to see how some people can pick themselves up and keep going against all the odds. However, if we look more closely, we may see a pattern emerging. There is a common quality among all of these people: the capacity to face one's feelings. 2 simple steps will teach you how to accomplish it as well. Recognizing your feelings is the first step, which is often easier said than done, for the simple reason that we are conditioned ourselves to deny the presence of our own emotions. When you're feeling down or angry, you may attempt to bury the feelings by thinking sensible ideas or engaging in other activities that divert your attention. However, the reality is that we simply can't ignore our bad feelings. On the contrary, suppressing negative feelings for too long can have adverse mental and physical effects. So, how can we keep this from happening? By allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. The author, for example, took the unique approach to handle this situation by writing herself physical permission slips, saying, "Permission to be excited, have fun, and be goofy." Now that you have identified and accepted your emotion, you may begin exploring it. As the second stage of coming to terms with your emotions, this is where you look into what's going on inside of you and why it's happening. Asking yourself basic questions is the first step in the right direction. For instance, asking questions like, "Why am I being so critical of myself today? Is there something that's gnawing at me?" can help you find creative answers to your challenges. Part 4. Rumbling. For the majority of us, making up stories about the world and our role in it is a continual process. These kinds of stories give us a feeling of direction, community, and self-worth. The problem is that we might get ensnared in our own self-created narratives. The second phase in rising strong is to rumble, and this helps us keep these tales under control. We may learn a great deal about ourselves by examining our own stories and being honest with ourselves. It is normal for us to want to understand what is going on when we feel hurt or angry or frustrated. Most of the time, Our subconscious weaves a tale that connects the current difficulty we are having with all the pain we have previously endured, thereby giving validation to the events we are trying to process at present. The story we are left with informs us that we have been suffering our whole lives and that it will only get worse. It's when you're in the rumble mode that you want to shake things up. You're trying to find out what all the fuss is about. You'll get the greatest bang for your buck if you write down your ideas in a rough first draft. A raw, unedited, and emotionally driven description of your battle is presented in this piece. It is simple to compose these early drafts. For instance, according to my tale, my feelings tell me that, my body feels that, my thoughts appear to be that, and my behavior seems to be that. By putting ourselves through these kinds of activities, we are able to step back from our own narratives. It's much simpler to go back and re-evaluate a tale that's been put down on paper. Things will start to make sense, and our eyes will open to our elaborate plots and snares soon enough. It's these snares and self-sabotaging techniques that keep us from moving forward in life. Therefore, recognizing them and avoiding them is the key. For listening to more interesting summaries, please subscribe to my channel. Part 5. Rumbling with Limits, Honesty and Generosity. Here, the author tells a short but powerful account of her own rise to power. Upon accepting a speaking engagement at a conference, the author was told that she would have to share a hotel room with another speaker. Although the author did not feel comfortable sharing her room with a stranger, she decided to acquiesce in order to create a good impression. Unfortunately, her roommate turned out to be a total nightmare. They both ended up in hot water because of her roommate's complete disregard for room hygiene and the hotel's no tobacco policy. The author was appalled and felt as if she were being treated like a pushover. Anxiety started to set in as soon as the author finished her address and was getting ready to board her plane for home. The author noticed that she was judging and hating everyone she came across at the airport, and she wondered why she was so down. She tried to deal with her feelings by writing down the events of the conference in a crude first draft. It didn't take long for the following emotions to surface. Instead of being grateful for my assistance, the event organizers took advantage of me because I was too easygoing and adaptable. They were abysmal, to say the least. I did not deserve this humiliating behavior. Writing down her feelings enlightened her in an unexpected way. She realized the need of maintaining personal boundaries in order to avoid harboring unproductive anger. Now that she had made the decision to take personal responsibility for her own happiness, she no longer looked to others for blame or lamented the unfairness of the world. Part 6. Dealing with Expectations and Forgiveness. Disappointment is one of the feelings we experience only too often, be it in our personal or professional lives. Our mind is an expert at conjuring up expectations even in the most unexpected situations. What's more, most of the time, the expectations are formed even before we can realize it. Having high expectations may be exhilarating and motivating, but they can also lead to a lot of heartbreak. Resentment or negative feelings are common when our expectations are not met in reality. However, we need not remain slaves to our expectations forever. Disappointment may be alleviated by eliminating unhealthy expectations via rumbling. For example, your co-workers and spouse should know of what you expect of them. Only then can you be clear on how realistic your expectations are. Also, bringing your expectations to your awareness will help you ascertain the underlying objective behind such expectations. Most of the time, we don't pay attention to our own expectations. We don't understand how high our expectations were until we have been let down. The challenge thus is to make our expectations clear and conscious. Sometimes, in order to foster forgiveness, we need to be able to let go of our expectations. It's a good thing that we have families and relationships, yet they may also cause us pain. At some point in our lives, we are all going to have to deal with forgiveness. For example, maybe you should stop expecting your parents to be perfect and start seeing them as human beings with flaws and limitations of their own. Alternatively, you may have to give up on the idea of changing your husband or partner into a perfect human being. By acknowledging and accepting others for who they are, we are able to put the past behind us and forge stronger relationships. Part 7. Rumbling with Courage. Once, during a fundraiser for the homeless, the pastor of the author's church said, "When you turn away from a homeless person, you lessen their humanity." This statement had a profound impact on the author, and she found herself mulling over it. She was taken aback by how the statement revealed a hitherto unseen side of her personality. Becoming aware of her own discomfort at the pastor's words, she began to reflect on them. What the author realized was that she, too, had turned her back on the homeless on the street up until now. With her affluent upbringing, the author was well aware of the hardships faced by the homeless population. In addition, she was plagued by her own preconceived notions that asking for assistance was a show of weakness. All this led her to jot down her rough draft, which said, "I'm not doing enough to assist other people. I can't face the people. I should be assisting because of my embarrassment over my wealth and indifference. Do more." Becoming aware of her contemptuous view of the homeless, she had another revelation. To her, it was clear that asking for help was not a sign of weakness. In reality, it's an essential element of the process of becoming stronger. After a failure, it takes bravery to dust oneself off and seek support. Part 3. Rumbling with Accountability. Here, the author relates the story of Andrew, a senior leader at a successful advertising agency, to demonstrate how taking responsibility for your actions and owning up to your mistakes can improve professional relationships and encourage mutual trust and confidence. Andrew was greatly respected at his workplace because of his skills and expertise, and his teammates took his words at face value. However, once he made a terrible mistake. His team had put in a lot of effort on a project, but it didn't work out. The main reason behind this was that, while Andrew had realized beforehand that the project was a risky one, he didn't share that information with his crew. As a result, his teammates were enraged and morale was low. It was an extremely stressful situation, but Andrew managed to come out of it by taking responsibility for his mistakes and apologizing to his teammates. A healthy relationship or workplace culture is built on a foundation of accountability. It demands a great deal of bravery to own up to your blunders. Andrew was able to show this courage, thereby proving himself worthy of the leadership and the trust his teammates put in him. Conclusion. Rising strong is a 3-step process that begins with a reckoning, followed by a rumbling, and finally a revolution. The reckoning requires us to become aware of and inquire about our own feelings. Next, we must examine the tales that we tell ourselves in order to learn more and modify our viewpoint. We may begin the rumbling experience by writing a short, rough draft of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Finally, the revolution is the stage in our lives when we rise to the occasion and undergo a transformation. By embracing our feelings and behaviors, we are able to lead a more bold and confident life. Thank you for watching this episode. Please don't forget to subscribe. Your likes, comments, and shares are highly appreciated. See you soon in our next episode.